The pulse of a nation, crowds, heroes, and the fading glare of royalty. In the heart of London, where history and modernity collide along the grand stretch of the Mall, the pulse of a nation reveals itself not in words, but in footsteps. On a vibrant Tuesday, July 29, 2025, the air thrummed with the roar of 65,000 voices, a sea of fans undeterred by the workday's demands, gathered to celebrate the Lionesses, England's women's football team, as they paraded in triumph. The scene was electric. Flags waved, chants echoed, and the collective pride of a nation surged through the crowd, honoring a team that had etched its name into the annals of sporting glory. This was no ordinary gathering. It was a testament to a cultural shift, a moment where ordinary citizens, united by shared admiration, chose to honor national heroes who had fought and won on the global stage. The sheer scale of the turnout, on a weekday no less, spoke volumes about where the public's heart now lies, not in the gilded pomp of tradition, but in the raw, relatable victories of those who sweat and strive for greatness. Contrast this with a quieter scene just weeks earlier, on Saturday, June 14, 2025, when the Mall hosted King Charles's official birthday parade, the Trooping of the Colour. The pageantry was impeccable crimson uniforms, polished brass, and the rhythmic clip of hooves, all framed against the backdrop of Buckingham Palace. Yet the crowd was sparse, with estimates ranging from fewer than 8,000 to as low as 2,000. On a weekend day, when attendance should have swelled with families and tourists, the emptiness was stark. The silence of the crowd, or rather the lack thereof, spoke louder than any royal proclamation. This was not an isolated incident, but part of a broader trend, a slow unraveling of public fascination with the monarchy. The last time the Mall had seen a crowd rivaling the Lionesses was during the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in 2022, a moment steeped in nostalgia for a monarch whose reign had spanned generations. Since then, royal events have struggled to fill the same space, both physically and emotionally, in the public's imagination. The disparity in these crowds is more than a matter of numbers. It is a window into a nation's evolving priorities. The Lionesses parade, held on a Tuesday, shattered any excuses used to explain the monarchy's dwindling draw. Hot weather, often cited as a deterrent for royal event attendance, was no match for the fans who braved the summer sun to cheer for their footballing heroes. This was not a case of convenience or circumstance. It was a deliberate choice. The public, it seems, is no longer content to gather for spectacle alone. They seek something deeper. Heroes who reflect their values, who rise through merit, and who inspire through tangible achievements. The Lionesses, with their grit, teamwork, and undeniable success, embody this new ideal. Their victory was not handed to them by birthright. It was earned through years of dedication, training, and resilience. In contrast, the monarchy, with its inherited privilege and ceremonial duties, appears increasingly disconnected from a public that craves authenticity and impact. The media's response to these events further underscores the shifting tide. While the Lionesses parade was met with glowing coverage, with headlines celebrating the sea of fans and the new era of women's sport, the low turnout at the Trooping of the Colour was met with a conspicuous silence. Few outlets dared to highlight the embarrassingly sparse crowds, perhaps wary of the implications for an institution that has long relied on public goodwill to justify its existence. This reticence speaks to a broader discomfort, acknowledging the monarchy's declining relevance risks, unraveling a narrative that has propped up the royal family for centuries. Yet the numbers do not lie. Public turnout, as one commentator aptly noted, is the truest measure of popularity, unswayed by polls or carefully curated press releases. The 65,000 who flooded the Mall for the Lionesses were not coerced or obligated. They came because they wanted to, because they believed in what the team represented. This contrast invites us to reflect on the historical context of the Mall itself, a place that has long served as a stage for Britain's defining moments. In 2022, the Queen's Platinum Jubilee drew throngs of well-wishers, a celebration of a monarch whose longevity and quiet stoicism had earned her a unique place in the nation's heart. That event was a high watermark, a fleeting resurgence of royal fervour fueled by nostalgia and respect for a figure who had become a living emblem of continuity. But the years since have told a different story. The passing of Queen Elizabeth II marked a turning point, and the monarchy has struggled to recapture the same affection under King Charles. The trooping of the colour, once a highlight of the royal calendar, now feels like a relic, its pomp overshadowed by the vibrancy of events like the Lionesses parade. The Mall, once a canvas for royal spectacle, is increasingly claimed by the triumphs of ordinary citizens who achieve extraordinary things. Public sentiment, as captured in comments and conversations across platforms like X, paints a vivid picture of this shift. Many Brits express a growing disillusionment with the monarchy, with phrases like "done with the royals" and "time for change" echoing through online discussions. The royal family's reliance on taxpayer funds, coupled with their perceived lack of tangible contribution, has fueled a narrative that they are out of touch with a nation grappling with economic challenges and social change. Some voices, point to the Sussexes, Prince Harry and Meghan, as the only royals capable of drawing crowds akin to those seen for the Lionesses. Their modern, relatable approach and willingness to step away from traditional royal duties have really resonated with a segment of the public, especially younger generations who see them as a bridge between tradition and progress. Whether this perception holds true is, well, debatable, but it does underscore a broader truth. The monarchy's relevance is no longer guaranteed by its mere existence. The implications of this shift are, honestly, pretty profound. Not just for the royal family, but for Britain's identity as a whole. The monarchy has, long served as a symbol of continuity, a thread connecting the nation to its past. Yet, as the crowds dwindle and the cheers for national heroes grow louder, it becomes clear that the public is, well, redefining what it means to be British. The Lionesses represent a new kind of heroism, one rooted in diversity, teamwork, and perseverance. Their victory parade was not just a celebration of football, it was a celebration of a nation that sees itself in the faces of its players, from the gritty determination of Beth Mead to the radiant leadership of Leah Williamson. These are not distant figures cloaked in ceremony. They are daughters, sisters, and friends whose triumphs feel personal to those who cheer them on. Looking ahead, the contrast between these events, well, it really raises questions about the monarchy's future. Can it adapt to a world that values merit over lineage? Can it recapture the public's imagination in an era where authenticity reigns supreme? The answers are far from clear, but the numbers offer a sobering clue. The 65,000 fans who filled the Mall for the Lionesses did so because they saw something worth celebrating. Not just a victory, but a story of struggle and triumph that mirrored their own aspirations. The monarchy, for all its history and grandeur, must find a way to tell a similar story if it hopes to survive. Perhaps it is time for the royals to step out from the shadow of tradition and engage with the public in a way that feels genuine, relevant, and inspiring. As the sun set on the Mall that July day, the echoes of the Lionesses parade lingered in the air, a reminder of what truly moves a nation. The crowd of 65,000 was more than a statistic. It was a declaration of values, a collective shout of pride for those who rise through their own efforts. In contrast, the sparse turnout for the trooping of the colour was a quiet warning, a signal that the monarchy's place in the public's heart is no longer assured. The future belongs to those who inspire, who connect, and who reflect the spirit of a changing Britain. The Lionesses have shown the way, their victory parade a beacon of what is possible when a nation rallies behind its true heroes. And as the cheers faded into the evening, one truth stood clear. In the contest for Britain's soul, it is not crowns or titles that win, but the courage to chase greatness and the power to bring a nation to its feet.